Good deal, friends. I have both an odd question but a real question, and I think they're actually tied together, although it may not seem like it. So one of the questions we got was, does Jesus get double the presents on Christmas because it's his birthday and it's Christmas? Thank you for the question. And then the other question that came with it is, when was Jesus actually born? So I've got a whole bunch of little notes here I'm going to share with you because it adds some context, although honestly it doesn't really change a whole lot in my mind, because birth dates that we celebrate and things like that, while it's kind of a nice way to remember, doesn't really change the reality of your life per se. So most scholars, it turns out, date Jesus' birth between 4 and 6 BC, or now we would say BCE, before Christ, or before the Common Era as it's now known. And the idea then is that's when it is, because Jesus' ministry lasted about 30 years per the Gospel of Luke, which would put his death right about the time of somewhere between 27 and 30, kind of tying the whole thing together. Early Christians just mark 0 because the church was in charge, and so Christ's birth became 0, and we move forward from there in the calendar. So one of the reasons we have these things with those dates, we have this line about when Quirinius was governor and their census was taken. Well, it turns out Quirinius was a governor, and he did take a census somewhere around 6 BC, somewhere in that region. It doesn't say exactly, but somewhere in there. And at the same time, we learn about King Herod, known as Herod the Great, who was quite a monster, and he died in 4 BC. And so if Christ was born during the reign of King Herod, and when this census happened, 4 to 6 works. So that all happens to be the case. So then the question is, well, why December 25th? Well, the two pieces there is December 25th is around the feast days and the celebration of both the winter equinox, the shortest daylight of the year, which is a big pagan festival, and Saturnalia, which is a big Roman festival. So in that then, it's thought that the early church, specifically to counteract paganism and Roman belief, put Christmas on that time so that Christianity would do this. Christmas wasn't really celebrated until Constantine was the emperor, and Christianity became a state religion in the 300s. So it didn't exist kind of as we kind of think of it once upon a time back then. Scholars then in the early world would say, well, if Jesus died on March 25th, which is tied to all the different things, it's not real accurate, then he must have been born on March 25th because all the great prophets and saints were born and died on the same day. That's why you'll find in a lot of old documents, if they don't know, they just put the same date. Probably not. But the timing works with some of the livestock and things like this, but really, who knows? And then another piece is in 5 BC, there was a huge comet that would have been seen, which a lot of scholars believe was probably what the wise men thought was the Star of Bethlehem leading. And they would have followed that comet. They would have been able to plot the course and things like this. So then that points to a spring birthday. In short, we honestly don't know. And my bigger question is, does it matter? It doesn't change the fact whether Jesus was born on December 25th or March 25th or April 25th or June 3rd, whatever. It doesn't matter when Jesus was born. It matters that Jesus was born. And so does Jesus get double presents on Christmas? I mean, if he's Jesus, I'm not sure he's real into the material things about getting presents, just in general. And when was he born? Somewhere between 4 and 6. Somewhere in that region, most likely, but Scripture doesn't actually tell us a date, just that he was. So, something to think about for you. Have a great day.